Welcome to a word of hope for the memorial of St. Catherine of Siena, Doctor of the Church. My name is Father Brendan Curran, Dominican promoter for justice and peace, inviting you around the fire. On this day, we remember in the gospel passage that there are a bunch of setbacks that those early followers faced. In fact, in this sixth chapter of the Gospel of John, we hear that as Jesus tells them for where this journey is heading, to challenges and even threats among them, some of the disciples were reported had to have simply turned around and gone back to their homeland, their home villages. But immediately following that departure, we see this proud and powerful voice of Simon Peter. Oh, we know him, who said, "Master, to whom shall we go? You have the words of eternal life." Talk about persistence. After having witnessed other disciples turn around and take off, Simon Peter says, "You have the words of eternal life." That's the spirit that we gather around the fire this day for. And speaking of fires, we remember the fire of the powerful preaching of Catherine of Siena. Many of us may remember that Catherine of Siena was this great and powerful preacher in the church in the midst of a divided church. One pope in Avignon, France, and another pope in Rome. And Catherine of Siena called them to task to remind them of a higher road, and called each of us in one of her passages, if you are who God meant you to be, you can set the world on fire. That's the spirit of today's gospel. Catherine, in the midst of a divided church, one pope in one place, another pope in the other, lifted up her voice to see the signs of hope, to call us further, to set the world on fire. That's the spirit of this gospel story of Simon Peter, who lifted it up in the midst of trouble, of those who let go and went home and said, "You have the words of everlasting life." Let that be our spirit. And let that be a word of hope for each of us this celebration day.